Hello everyone, Spencer from rock band Opals here. Today's our second unboxing video, and this is from a different vendor this time. So today's vendor is Rock Gems and Opals out of Australia, run by Matty and Kate. This has probably been the most recommended vendor to me as I was doing my analysis and sorting out, who are the trustworthy sellers over in Australia. Their name kept coming up time and time again from everybody that I spoke to. So I felt confident buying from these guys. But like all first-time purchases, I tend to keep them small. There's as much as everyone's saying how great they are, my belief is always do a small order with a vendor first, check the quality of it, and then move from there. If it's great quality at a great price, then you start to buy more, obviously. So this is our first package that's come from Matty and Kate. So one of the sort of smaller boxes that you get from Australia Post. I think this is the up to 1 kilo box. You'll start to recognise these boxes quite a lot after a while when you start to order quite a few things in from Australia. There's 4 different weights, up to 5 kilos that they charge for. And this allows us, to put a number of parcels that you bid for in these auctions into a single box and get them at actually quite a reasonable cost. I think the up to kilo box is, it's certainly about it's about £30, I think, in terms of the postage costs. So pretty reasonable and actually pretty quick as well. I've seen these boxes come from Australia faster than I can get a box from Doncaster to Oxford. So it's great that it's coming from the other side of the world, and it comes at a pretty reasonable pace. As I mentioned in my previous video, really sometimes the slowdowns here tend to be our customs. If they sail through customs, not being stopped or whatever, they're usually here, 7 to 8 days. If they do get stopped in customs, it can be anything, up to about 2 weeks. So even then, it's a reasonable turnaround time, considering, you're buying from the other side of the world and these things are coming in. So joined a couple of Matty's auctions to start off with, just to get the feel of them, sort of see who's buying on those auctions, how they buy. I think, again, when you're looking at these auctions, sometimes you can get a little carried away, especially if it's the sort of first time that you've been buying. You'll see some absolutely amazing stuff at, quite reasonable costs. In fact, often very cheap costs in comparison to what we pay over here in the UK for a similar sort of parcel. And obviously that's because all those parcels originate in Australia and now you're buying direct. So you're actually saving quite a lot of money. Even though you've got a little bit extra postage costs and a little bit of extra time to get them, you do save an awful lot of money. So if you're creating your own jewellery, or looking to sell online, or even if you're just a hoarder, it's a great place to go buy. So hang out at a couple of Matty's auctions, sort of saw the buying habits of people, how people bid, who the snipers were, those types of things. So I thought, when I get into my first auction to buy, I'll be better prepared, especially knowing who the snipers are. It's funny because, we often have somewhere between 20 and a 30-second lag on these Facebook Live auctions in the UK. And it makes you feel like you can't snipe because, you've got to put a bid in literally 20 or 30 seconds before that timer goes off. Whereas the people in Australia that are buying there, they may have 3 or 4 seconds lag. So timing is of the essence. So practice a little bit, ask for lag checks, those types of things. Have a stopwatch on your phone. It's great. If you've got 26 seconds lag, when to place that bid. You'll also find that, there are other snipers. There are going to be people sort of placing bids. My strategy to that often is just to maybe bid $5 or $10 higher than you think it's going to go for. You're not going to get a chance to put a second bid in if somebody outbids you. So put your best foot forward on those things. So it's an extra 5 or 10 Australian dollars maybe that you're paying for that parcel. It's almost 2 to 1, to the pound. It's not a lot of extra money. And that extra money, of course, goes to the sellers. And that's a great thing for them too. You're paying a little bit more than you could have done, but you're also providing them extra revenue as well. So back to the box. So the box here, there's a number of parcels in here. This was, I kept this sort of fairly sort of lower grade parcels today. Matty and Kate had some amazing stuff in their auctions. They specialize really in boulder opal. There is the other, some other things that come up in there as well. There's quite often some Minterby and Lightning Ridge and, Anamuka Matrix and things like that too, that sort of come around as little parcels and packages as well. But the majority of it is boulder opal, which, as you guys know, that's what I specialize in. So great for me, to meet these people. They come across really genuine, nice people. And have so far been an absolute pleasure to deal with. It's easy to get communication going with them, ask questions in the lives. Matty imparts a huge amount of knowledge to everybody there, sort of talking about the rocks themselves, and just general knowledge about opals that, it's a gold mine of information there. So what we're going to do today now, that's enough of me rambling, is actually switch across the cameras now and actually get unpackaging these parcels and taking a look at the rocks today. Thanks, everyone. Okay, everyone, so this is going to be our first parcel today. All the parcels that come individually wrapped. As you win them, for each one of the parcels they show at the auction, they will get bagged individually here. And you'll receive them within the bags themselves, within the package, very well wrapped. As well, lots of bubble wrap, etc. So let's get these stones wet and see what we've got here. Obviously, as I mentioned in the first video, obviously we wet the stones to show them off at their best. This is rough boulder opal, so not polished in any shape or form. So the wetness actually shows off the boulders to what you're going to get as you cut and polish them. So get these wet. Let's start to take a look at what we've got in this first parcel here. So let's try and get the zoom going a bit better here. So here we've got a little bit of boulder opal here, a lot of opal within this one. You can see there's a lot of patterning there. Nice little chunk there. Enables us to sort of start to see the stones, start to see the different bands within it where we would cut. And we'll go from there. Let's take a look here, the next piece. See bits of opal coming through here. Little flashes there, green and gold. You start to get to know these types of stones about where the opal will be. A lot of times where you see the flashes along the line there, what you will probably end up doing is actually taking off some of the top of the stone from either that way or from that way to try to expose across that line there more of the opal. So we can, rather than just being a nice rock with the occasional flash on it, you want to try to expose as much of that opal in there as possible. Got all sorts of colours in this one. Let's check out the next piece here. Some gorgeous patterns in here. So your sort of typical Yawa type patterning here on this rock. This rock is very, very hard rock. It's quite heavy as well. Very easy to work with. So I said for this first parcel here, this is not, Matty's really, really high grade stuff. That will just blow you away. Decided not to spend a lot of money on this first one, just to sort of see how it was to deal with Matty and Kate. And as I said, it was an absolute pleasure dealing with them. You can definitely buy with confidence from them. Lovely patterns there, odd little flecks of opal showing up. All sort of great pendant type material. Some of these lower grade ones, when you actually go chasing the opal in them, sometimes you can be absolutely amazed how much you find. When you're selling this stuff, you especially rough like this, you're making a judgment, on that rock based upon what you can see here. That doesn't mean there's not a lot more in it. And you get lucky sometimes. You can purchase this stuff and see a couple of little flashes here. You get the Dremel out and start taking away, you know, some of the top surface there, and you uncover some amazing stuff. Beautiful patterns in this one. So definitely got a bit of colour in here. So you've got some lovely green bar going across here. You've got some blues here as well. Right the way through this rock, both sides. So a number of different things you could do here. Create yourself a nice sort of oval pendant out of this piece. You could leave this edge here. You can probably come down on this, expose that lovely green bar and have it as the edge of the pendant. It's too thin the piece to come at it sideways, but a lot of colour in that piece. A couple more pieces in this parcel. Again, a bit of pipe work here, some blues. A lot of the fun with this is just exploring these rocks. You know, the rock often does a lot of work for you. You've got to look and listen to the rock and work out, you know, how can I show its best side? You know, it's relying on you to bring that out, whether you're using cabbing wheels, whether you're using Dremels. A lot of boulder you can shape very easily on cabbing wheels, but really to bring out the best, often you have to use a Dremel. You know, you know, these are not straight lines cuts like some opals. So, you know, you've got pipe work coming down into here. Each one of these looks like a little bit of pipe. So working out best face, you know, it can take a little bit of time. You know, take your time with these things. You want it to look its best. And this is the last piece from the first parcel. Got a lovely bit of crystal pipe in here. It comes right the way through to the other side here. It's like quite a bit of sort of fossilized vegetation within here as well. Gives you some great patterns. Again, you know, so where do you start chasing there? There's so many different options there. I mean, that bright bit of crystal there is one of your more obvious ones to go for here. I mean, do you want to leave it as a crystal dot and sort of expose there, or do you want to chase it on its side, try and expose a bit more and give a bit more on the face there? Plenty of options here to do. Actually, probably a couple of stones you could cut from this. I mean, it's quite a little chunky stone here. So that's the first parcel. We'll move on to the second one now. Okay, second parcel. Again, number of stones in here. These things typically weigh maybe sort of 100 grams, something like that. 500 carats, if you're into weighing these carats. Like boulder opal, I tend, when it's in the rough, to keep the grams. You know, you never know what you're going to end up with once you Dremel and cap these stones. They may end up a quarter of the size they start off with, or they may end up being cut into multiple different stones. So I tend to stick with grams on the rough, and as I get to the finished stones, I turn it to carats. Right, wet. Let's do a lucky dip and see what comes out first here. Let's get a bit of focus here. Oh, look at that. Some lovely blues in that. Let's try to zoom in a bit more here as well. My phones are never great cameras to do this type of work. You've got quite an obvious face here. You've got the nice patterning here. It's like spider webbing. Don't know what's going to be under that bit yet, so take that skin off and see what's underneath it. You'll probably find that that opal goes right the way through. That may give you a flatter face there, so it may be a better one to chase. This one here, you know, it's quite an uneven surface. You'd have to smooth that out quite a lot for a pendant or something like that. So maybe better coming at it from this side. See what's there first. That's our first piece. Second piece here. Look at that. Ton of colour, ton of pattern. What a beautiful stone that is. I'm getting greens, I'm getting blues. It's both sides too. Stunning. So this is fairly sort of medium grade rock by Matty's standards. So that would create one hell of a gorgeous pendant. I will be getting a second box in from Matty in a couple of weeks' time. That is higher grade material. So I can't wait to show you that as well. To show you, you know, when you take that sort of next step up, you know, where you get to. Blues flashing there. Gorgeous patterning. Very typical sort of Yawa nut pattern there. This gorgeous sort of the ironstone orange. This colour of this can vary quite a lot. I mean, this is quite orangey. You can have deep reds. You know, this is more of a deeper red at this end here. Create some absolutely stunning stones. Again, a lot of these look like they, you know, could well have come from the same stone as Matty's been slabbing this up. You know, quite often get that. And again, so if you can go here, you can almost sort of do a his and hers pendant. You could do a pair of, you know, you could cut out some of the smaller areas of the nut there. Maybe go for a pair of earrings when you do those types of you know, matching slabs there. Matty tends to sort of throw a bit of everything into these things. So you won't always get matching pairs in there. A little bit of blues and purples on that one. Again, you know, cut off the top there, see where you go. Couple more stones left here. Again, you know, gorgeous little stone patterns in there. You know, you could just even that out, maybe triangle type pendant there. Probably get a nice oval out of that as well. When you can see sort of very obvious patterns like this with the, you know, with the opal running through it, you know, a lot of the times you don't feel like you need to chase to find out where the good opal is in stones like this. You know that's going to make a great pendant. It's just about choosing the right shape, shaping it, polishing it. You know, good thickness there as well on that. You probably could drill a hole in that one, pendant it with a leather strap, something like that. Tons of colour. Actually, I've got a few more bits in there. Right, so let's have a look at the next bit here. Again, you know, look at these sort of red. I mean, ignore the opal. You know, just the stone itself, the colours in these things. You know, they make stunning stones. And then of course you get all the opal as well, which takes them just to that next level, right the way through. You can see that that's going. The smaller pieces, yeah, sometimes you get these little offcuts or things like that, you know, probably just go in the bin. Look at that, lovely little slice there. Tons of opal in it, all of those veins are full of it. So although this is sort of medium grade, the rock itself is amazing. You know, what you're not going to get in the medium grade is that sort of full spectrum of colours. You know, the more colours you get in here, the higher the grade that it is. Obviously, the more expensive that it is, and the more sought after it is. Those blues just stand out, especially when these are hit by sunlight. You know, a lot of jewellery, it's designed to reflect. You think of your typical diamonds, things like that. Faceting means that you can get the play of colours and the play of light through those things, from different directions. With these types of pendant type jewellery you end up here, these can often look the best in the daytime, in the sunlight itself. As that pendant turns and catches sun, you're going to catch different bits of opal glowing at different times. So it really sort of draws people into this type of jewellery. Great for sort of wearing outdoors in the day, as well as at night, of course, as well. Right, well, that's the end of parcel 2. Let's move on to parcel 3. Okay, everyone. So this is parcel 3. This is a bit heavier. This is about 150 grams. This one. Definitely some chunkier pieces within here. Let's get them in the water and see what we've got. Now, if you're looking just for something just to try, maybe you don't want to buy a parcel as big as this, I would definitely recommend coming across, to some of the more local auctions. In the UK, for instance, we have UK Opal Specialists, we have Illuminate Opals, we have MD's Aussie Opals. They're buying from Australia, they're buying these big parcels in, and they'll sell the stones individually in their auctions as well, sometimes in parcels. So do go, give them a look as well. A lot of them get their material from Matty and Kate. So this is the type of quality that you will see, but it will give you the option just to buy, 1 or 2 pieces if that's what you're after to start off with. You want to experiment with the Dremel. Oh, look at that. This is a chunky piece, sort of probably 4 centimetres by about 2.5 centimetres. Got pipe work running through it. See, it comes out there, goes in up there. Got the edge of the nut there. That gorgeous sort of red, pinky salmon colour in there as well. I mean, these do change quite a lot in terms of coloration. This sort of stone, you are going to go chasing that best face. It is. You're going to find a lot more in something like that. You've got these sort of patterns here. Got opal in. Sometimes, you can see it's opal. It's not that colourful in certain places, but you go chasing through that bar. Sometimes you can uncover a lot of colour. Suddenly, these things turn out to be amazing. Look at that. It's a bit of pipe that's gone. It's been cut straight down the middle there. There's colour in that pipe. Doesn't always come out so well on these cameras, but you're getting some gold flashes right across that. Lots of pipe work going through again. It comes out here. So got another pipe there. Probably get several stones out of this actually. Again, a bit of a chunk here, 4 centimetres wide by about 3 centimetres deep. So good amount to play with there as well. Look at that. And a lot of pipe work in this one. Purples, blues, all sorts of colours in these pieces. Look at that. Greens, blues, and that crystal. You've got a bar across here. So you've got a choice sort of here. Really. Do you come from the top here and try and chase this down a little bit? You sort of cut. It's going to be sort of across there. Come from the other way. You chase it down. A lot of different options there. You'll see some videos about splitting boulder opal. This is not the type of boulder opal you'd split. That typically is the darker matrix Queensland boulder opal that you do that with. This is definitely a chase down with a Dremel job. Again, if you've got a trim saw, you know, you can make some of the cuts quickly. Just don't get too close to it. Get rid of the majority of the top there, and then, you know, maybe some cabbing wheels to bring it a bit closer, and then the Dremel to finish it off. Dremel will give you the ultimate control. It's very easy to go too far too quickly with a cabbing wheel. Whoa, look at that. Lovely, lovely deep blues. This is this type of when you get in the matrix like this is very gemmy. Just colour everywhere. Gorgeous little piece. About so 1.5 centimetres in every direction. Make a number of ring stones out of that. Could probably get 2 little pendants out of it. Maybe a pair of earrings. Gorgeous. This bit again. These are all the little fossils. This is all sort of fossilized vegetation in here. Some of it gets opalized, some of it is bi-opal. And a lot of colour in here. And it's about chasing some of these little seams here. See where they go. And do they broaden out in the rock? Do they keep going? Opal can be a fickle thing. You know, you think you've got a great seam in there, and sometimes you open it up and there's nothing. Sometimes you think you've got nothing, you open it up and it's, you know, top grade opal, brilliant pendant material. So, and that's part of the fun of this. I mean, you're buying rough rocks here. You don't know what you're going to get. You've got an idea from the surface, you know what you can see. But you're also not taking a huge risk either. I mean, you know there's opal in it. You know that these rocks are going to polish up. This is a bit of sort of conglomerate where you get lots and lots of little nuts in this really hard concretey like rock. And it's just the fun. I mean, be able to take that off. I mean, you've got most of the opal around these sort of nuts up the top here on this side, but you've got a beautiful pattern here with these 3 little nuts as well. You know, you think, no, I don't want to lose that. So sometimes I just sit there with stencils and just moving them between different stencils and shapes and sizes until you get that sort of aha moment. That's how I'm going to cut it. You can get stencils on Amazon really cheaply. You just want sort of ovals, squares, rectangles, circles. You can get specialised stencils for lapidary work. They are much more expensive than just the standard plastic stencils off Amazon, but it gives you teardrops and stuff like that you might not get. Again, it doesn't have to be expensive to get into this. You know, start with the basics and then work up from there. It's got pattern and colour in there around the edge of the nut. Again, you can see here, you know, more pattern and colour, more up here. Some really interesting rocks in this parcel. What we got left here? 3 more to go in this parcel. Oh, yeah, stunning stones. So this is conglomerate. So you've got the multiple nuts, smaller nuts in there. A lot of sort of dead vegetation, fossilised in this sort of matrix type stone. You know, not a lot of colour on this side, but lots on this side. You know, there's a subtlety in the conglomerate stuff. You know, where often these little nuts, you get a lot around the eye. I'll show you more of that later on one of the special stones I got. Right, last piece now on this parcel. A lot of blues. You've got some pipe work here. You may get some colour in there. Sometimes you get lots of colour, sometimes you get no colour. Doesn't mean it's not beautiful. Actually affects the value of the stone, the amount of colour in it. But I think, again, it's one of the sort of interesting things with sort of boulder opal. Sort of beauty is in the eye of the beholder here. You know, you're not just trying to create a faceted gemstone that looks the same as the next faceted gemstone. You know, unless you get it under a microscope, most people aren't going to be able to tell the quality of it either. You know, it's what is the beauty that you can bring out of these rocks. It's for everybody to see. That was a really cool parcel. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, everyone, this is parcel 4. This is the last big parcel that I've got here. Similar weight to the last one, 150 grams. Let's get the stuff in the done. Take a look. Actually, one of the other great things that Matty and Kate do as part of their auctions, it's not only about the rocks that they have, they also have some pretty amazing lapidary equipment, tips, flex shafts, you know, Dremels. You know, again, it's Australia, so for those of us in the UK, same power supply, different plug. So you just need to get a very cheap Australian to UK plug adapter off Amazon for about £3. Doesn't cost a lot. And their cost of their lapidary equipment is about 1/3 of what we pay for it in the UK. I mean, I know Matty, I got a flex shaft off Matty. It was about £150 in the UK. I think I paid $100 for it, Australian dollars, from Matty, which is about £54, something like that. Great quality, and also, you know, a lot cheaper. You know, flex shaft Dremels are great. I use the term Dremel here like you use the term Hoover. It doesn't mean it's made by Dremel. It's a rotator, you know, it's a rotating tool, but it's got a foot pedal to control the speed. You know, handheld Dremels, you know, you dial in the speed at the start. That's what you're doing. Unless you start dialing in other speeds, you know, the control of foot pedal gives you where, you know, you want to slow it down just that little bit, just so it doesn't cut as quickly and things like that when you're getting close to the actual face of the opal. It's really useful to have. But again, you know, you build up to these things. A Dremel, you know, you can do great work with the Dremel. It just takes a little bit longer. You know, you spend 40 quid on Amazon, you know, and do everything that you need to do. So yeah, so start to look at these rocks now. Oh, look at that. That's a bit of pipe there. You can see it coming through here. The other really interesting thing, you'll see this a lot on the auctions, is people picking out, you know, letters and animals and all sorts of things within the patterns. That always, you know, is quite a lot of fun. You know, this looks like it's got 55 here written maybe, or something like that on the end of this one. That may have some meaning to somebody that might want that. Loads of colour in that. On the matrix there. That'll be fun to come down, really sort of, probably the faces here, and you come down, you know, again, you can see some of these little lines here. This is typically where you're going to get most of the opal, although when it's in this type of matrix, it can be anywhere. Oh, colour and more colour in there. Gorgeous. And some flashes of red in this one. Red never comes out very well on the cameras. When red does come out on the cameras, it's really bright. So you can get some sort of subtle red like you do here, almost pinks, that don't really show on the camera. You have to see it with the naked eye, but gorgeous little bit of rock to play with. Oh, look at that. The edge of the outside of the nut here. You know, it's been split. You've got the centre there. Yeah, quite a lot of centres are like this. They don't have the full sort of kingstone crystal nut in them. That's actually quite rare. I think it's something like 1 in 10,000. Pipework running through it. Again, so many things to chase down in this with this piece. Gorgeous. Just the patterns alone, lovely. Green and white. Oh, look at that seam there. That's where you're going chasing. Right the way across the top there. Take that top off, chase that green. Might actually find it's better from coming down from the top. Yeah, there's blues, greens, golds in there. Again, it's not really going to focus. Gorgeous. And that runs right the way across. This is, you know, do you have just a line that shoots up through a pendant, or do you face that off and get a whole face pendant? From a value perspective, that's going to be the more valuable one. From an ease, probably just the line. There's not much, just slice, polish. You know, it's fairly easy to do. But don't waste opal. If that seam is there to be seen, get it seen. Again, that's gorgeous patterning. Oh, look at that. There's reds in there, there's pinks in there, there's greens, there's teals, there's blues. What a gorgeous little piece of rock there. As I say little, it's about 3.5 centimetres across there, 3 centimetres there, and a good centimetre thick as well. So good bit of chunky rock there. Plenty you can do with that. Again, lovely patterns, colour. You know, sometimes you get them and you see all the colour through here, and that can actually be the best face, and you end up just sort of slicing these, creating little sort of drop pendants. So it's finding the best colour in there, and what do you do with it? You know, it's obviously got a crystal in there, could be a pipe. Slice through. I mean, sort of thinking maybe it's not a pipe, it doesn't come out the other side here. So this just may be a little bit of crystal pocket in here. Gorgeous. Right, I've got 2 more pieces left. Again, loads of colour in this, loads of pattern. You know, when you're working with this type of rock, these are the type of rocks you want to work with. Obviously, more colour the better, but you know, you've got so many options here, and you know that you can cut them a few ways. If you don't find the opal that you're chasing in them, you've got other options there still. A little bit of pipework in the corner there, loads of blues in this, green flashes, lovely. Oh, actually I've got 2 pieces left here. Purples and blues in that one. And final piece of this one. Oh, it's an interesting bit of matrix there to explore. See the sort of colour of the boulder coming off here. Best fake tan in the business. Great, that's the end of parcel number 4. Okay, everyone. So this is the last parcel. This actually is one single stone. This was some of, this came from sort of Matty's higher grade stuff. And so normally I don't do high grade stuff in that sort of first parcel. I want to see what stuff is like, but I saw this and just couldn't not buy this. Sometimes you see a stone and you're just like, oh, hell yes. I mean, look at that. That is absolutely stunning. So it's a bit of conglomerate, all these little nuts in it, but each one of these nuts has crystal. And boy, does it sparkle. It's finished on all sides, so it's been polished, this one. It's like a sort of saber tooth. This will, ready to go, maybe bezel wrapped, silver, white gold, something like that. And make an absolutely stunning pendant. Some of you will have seen the video that I posted of this, that I snipped out of Matty's auction video. But this is it in my hands now, and it is just, if not more, stunning than we saw in the video. Look at that. This is top grade Boulder Opal. Not cheap, but opal very rarely is. But it's that sparkle. It's like a waterfall of colour as it comes through that nut there. Absolutely spectacular. A little bit of colour on the sides, but not a lot. So, I always have a problem bezel wrapping when I see tons of colour on the side there, and I think, oh, I'm going to cover that with silver or gold. It's like, do I really want to cover that? Do I just want to, just put a little clasp at the top there and see it in its full glory, maybe? But bezel wrapping these things does get frames them really nicely and brings them out. So probably will bezel wrap this one. This jewelry will be available, in the summer when Rock Band Opals launches to the public. Just building up enough stock right now, so I don't launch just with a few pieces. I want to make sure there's plenty in that store for everybody at all sorts of prices, ranging from sort of £10 small pieces of lovely rock with leather straps right the way through to pieces like this. Will be silver or gold wrapped high-end jewelry. I mean, that is gorgeous. So thanks everybody for watching this second unboxing video. I've got 2 more coming up in the very near future as well. Quite a few packages coming in at the minute, so I'm trying to not open them and do these unboxing videos with you all, so we can all see them for the first time together. It's always been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time today. I look forward to showing you the next unboxing video. Thanks everyone.